Hey guys, I'm Gaspi and I'm glad to see you here again. In this case, we will see how to use paint markers, tips, techniques and much more about them. Acrylic markers were one of the last material that I started to use. At the beginning, I didn't feel so comfortable with them because I used brushes to paint and pencil or markers to draw, so painting with markers seemed crazy to me. But I keep researching, learning, trying these markers with different brands and colors, and now they are one of my favorite materials. Well, so are you ready to get started with your paint markers? Let's do it!
There are two types of paint markers: water-based paint markers and acrylic paint markers. Both work in a very similar but not the same way. In my opinion, the water-based marker is easier to use, dry faster, and allows you to create more satisfying drawings. But acrylic paint markers have sharper colors and their paint is more pure. In this course, we are going to focus on water-based paint markers because I feel they are the base to get you into this material. Then I do advise you to try acrylic markers so you can see the difference yourself and choose the one that is more comfortable for you. Regarding the brands, there are hundreds of brands and I suggest you to try different ones until you find the one that suits you best.
Water-based paint markers are perfect for drawing or painting quickly, easily, and have a very precise application.
Benefits: they dry quickly and if you take care of them, they can last you a long time. They are widely used to create viral social media techniques. They are perfect for making very precise details. Something that I love of this material is that you can mix them with each other or with other materials easily. These markers are super resistant and when they dry, there is no way to damage them. There are two sets of tips with different sizes in the markers, which allows you to go into more detail and have more possibilities to create.
Now I will show you the most classic tips.
Extra fine tip. These markers can be used for painting, writing, marking, etc. With them you can achieve very fine and regular lines that allow you to go into detail and can be used on small surfaces. They can also be used to correct details. Plastic fine tip. This is one of my favorite tips. I assure you that you will be able to paint in really small pieces and make extra small details, but that will make your drawing look great. Fine tip. These markers have a more rounded tip and are good for making edge or longer and deeper lines. Also for color correction or lettering. Medium point. These are my favorite and the classic. The medium tip of 3mm is the most common and for me has the perfect tip because it allows you to make strokes or regular size, so you don't need to spend so much time drawing but it is not too thick. I advise you to use this in principle. I use them a lot in my neon technique and in almost all my videos you will see them appear. Thick tip. This tip allows you to work the curves well and make drawings faster. It is used a lot for large works, graffiti or to fill in wide spaces and without requiring so much detail. Other tips. If we go into detail, there are two sets of tips, but with the ones we saw above will be enough to make incredible and very viral artworks. Surfaces.
One of the best benefits of water-based paint markers is their ability to paint anything.
Papers, glass, clothes, canvas, silicone, wood, cardboard, and more. Let's talk a little more about canvas. Is it true that on some papers the marker works better than on others? Here I am using a paper of little thickness or grammage. It could be a printer or school paper. Look how the water-based paint removes those lumps that are from the paper. On the other hand, using a sheet of heavier weight, such as a technical or professional drawing sheet, the material has another more positive result. This also happens when we use a lot of spending stroke. That's why I recommend you to be careful when using markers on sheets of paper. So the thicker the paper and the more control you have in your stroke makes the difference on your drawing or painting. Before start, I will show you a successful activation of the marker. To activate it, let's shake it to mix the paint. Press the tip on the piece of paper or with your finger without making too much force to avoid mashing the tip. And that's ready to use. Let's draw or paint.
I will share with you tips that help me to understand the material when I started using them.
Shake your marker before using it. Since it's a water-based marker, it separates from the dye, so you should always shake it before using it so that the tone is brighter and stand out more. The best way to use the markers. There are many ways to paint with the markers, but I advise you to use precise and direct strokes. In this way, the color will spread evenly and you will get the cleanest look possible. More satisfying shades. To achieve a bright and uniform tone, I suggest you use several layers of paint one on top of the other until you reach the desired tone. Paint one color on the top of the other. Many people ask me how to paint one color on top of the other without mixing them, and the secret is that you must let it dry between coats. If you let it dry, you will get another color over the previous one without mixing colors. I advise you to be patient or use a hair dryer for drying. Do not throw away your markers. When we see that a tip is worn or no longer works perfectly, most brands on some of their markers allow you to remove the tip and turn it over. This is like having two tips in one. I also advise you to wash the tip of the marker to make it work better. Being a water-based marker, you will be able to wash in the water without running the tip. Tidy up the markers. This is a very personal tip, but something that allows me to be more creative. It is have the markers sorted by color, as I acquired more of these, the measure I was, and that's why I decided to keep the order like this. This allowed me to select the colors faster and easier.
Now that we know more about these markers, we will learn how to create a gradient.
For that, we are going to select colors. The gradient cannot be made between analogous or complementary colors. If it can be done with colors like yellow and orange. So I will use these colors. Let's start. First, we are going to pass one color over the surface. Now, before the first color dries, we are going to add the other color on the other side in the opposite direction. We are going to pass over the first color up to the middle. Tell me in the chat from 1 to 10 how easy you found it.
Now let's make the most viral technique of the social medias, the glow or neon technique.
For this, we are going to choose one base color and the second color is going to be the same but in dark. In my case, I'm going to use red and dark red. I am going to use a frame, but you can use a sheet, it will work. Choose a black surface or paint a white surface with black color. In my case, I paint the frame with black. Design the figure you want to make the neon. It can be lines or a letter or a number, whatever you want. Try not to have very small spaces so that the neon lines do not meet. In my case, I choose to make a heart. We paint with the white marker over the figure we close. I advise you to apply 2 or 3 layers of the color. Now we will use the base color surrounding the white color on both sides as shown in the video. Remember to let dry between each color you pass. The neon effect is generated by putting the white color in the center, then the chosen base color, and finally the dark color. Finally, and with a line similar or smaller than the base color, we are going to pass to the darker color bordering the base color. And this is our final result. I also invite you to do it with several colors.